Shalom, shalom. Giving all honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Shai. We are the Battle Axes of the Most High, coming to you on the Sabbath class to get edified in the Lord's name. The name of the class today is called Dedicating Our Temple. I have to look at my paper. We just been to go over the history of dedication and also kind of touch on us that now that we don't have a standing temple right now, how we're gonna have to dedicate ourselves to the Lord right now too. So these things go one and the same, especially coming up to being to the second coming of Christ. When we get tried in the wilderness, right? So we got to make sure that we have our spirits in check, make sure we have our mind in check, trying to do thus says the Lord. First precept we going into today, 2 Maccabees chapter 2, and we're gonna start at verse 8. This is basically gonna go on the outlook of what we're gonna be touching on today. 2 Maccabees chapter 2, we're gonna start at verse 8.
It's the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 8. Then shall the Lord show them these things.
So he said, the Lord shall show them these things. And it's going to explain to them. Read.
And the glory of the Lord shall appear.
And the glory of the Lord shall appear, right? Read.
And the cloud also, as he was showed under Moses.
So he appeared, everybody knows that he appeared to Moses, right? Read.
And as when Solomon desired that place.
And the same when the Solomon desired that place, because he showed himself to Solomon how many times, brothers? Let me see if y'all got some history on y'all. How many times did he show himself to Solomon? Let's see what brothers did. I'm about to ask the sisters, but y'all brothers looking down. Did you get it? It's 3. So I don't know if he's guessing or not, but hey, he said he would. He showed himself to Solomon 3 times, right? We'll read.
As when Solomon desired that the place might be honorably sanctified.
So guess what? This place that be honorably sanctified is going into the temple, man. Right? But watch it read.
It was also declared that he being wise offered the sacrifice of dedication.
So guess what? After the temple was being built, after the temple was finished, guess what? He had dedicated to the temple, man. Right? The same thing that we have always done, right? Dedicating the altars, there's so many things that we would dedicate, right? But this concerning the temple, so read on.
And of the finishing of the temple.
After the finishing of the temple. So after Solomon finished his temple, he dedicated to the temple, right? Read.
And as when Moses prayed unto the Lord, like the fire came down from heaven.
The fire came down from heaven, read.
And consumed the sacrifices.
Read on.
Even so prayed Solomon also, and the fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering.
One in the same, read.
And Moses said, because the sin offering was not to be eaten, it was consumed.
So the sin offering was not to be eaten, it was consumed, man. Right? That's why the fire came down from heaven. So he could consume these offerings, man. But read.
So Solomon kept those 8 days.
So Solomon kept how many days?
Those 8 days.
So the same thing that we doing now, this is the same thing Solomon was doing in the same time after he built the temple. He dedicated those 8 days. Why you think it was so pivotal about the Feast of Dedication? Right? This is what Christians get thrown off about this time of the year. Right? Going into the dedicating of the temple, right? So Solomon kept those 8 days. Read.
Verse 13. The same things also were recorded in the writings and commentaries like of
Nehemiah, right? That goes in Nehemiah chapter 12, verse 27, right? Read.
And how he founded a liberty gathering together the acts of the kings.
The acts of the kings, read.
And the prophets, and of David, and the epistles of the kings concerning the holy gifts.
Right, because guess what? These things concerning the holy gift, these things also goes into the holy gift that went into the temple and the holy gifts that the Lord gave the children of Israel, right? Read.
In like manner, also Judas gathered together all those things that were lost by reason of the war we had, and they remained with us.
So he's talking about Judas gathered all the things that, and we're gonna touch on that today too. Judas gathering of the things that was lost out of the temple, right? And he placed these things back in the temple and he cleansed the temple, right? These are things like from the time of Moses, now it's going all the way to the time of Judas, right? That's why I say these are the things that we're gonna be pretty much touching on today. But read.
Wherefore, if ye have need thereof, send some to fetch them unto you.
Right, read.
Whereas we then are about to celebrate the purification.
So this is what the dedication is for. It's the celebration of the purification, man. Right? Purification of the temple, our physical temple that we had standing. Now this is a celebration of the purification of our temple that we have right here. That you look in the mirror every day. Right? It's the purification of the cleansing of your temple, man. Right? Read.
We have written unto you, and ye shall do well if ye keep the same days.
You shall do well if you keep the same days. Why did it say you shall do well if you keep the same days? Why, brothers? Why would it say that? I'm asking see what brothers is. It's a commandment, and what else? I'm just see. Because it's a commandment, and what else? Obedience going to the same thing. Let me see. I want to see what brothers at, man. I got you. And the reason why I say that, and it says to keep the same days, because you see the heathens do what? That's why Jeremiah prophesied in Jeremiah chapter 10. The heathens have they holidays. And we was doing what? Keeping they stuff. Right? I'm gonna touch it right quick. Let's go to First Maccabees. We going back. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
So guess what? It said we all should be one people, which guess what? The Lord didn't ordain that, read.
And every one should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
So the heathens agreed to leave their laws. Guess what? In the commandment of the king. And who else did read?
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
Right, read.
And sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
Now, y'all see why? That's why I said we supposed to keep these 8 days, because guess what? It's lawful for us to keep the 8 days, but we consented into what? Their laws. And that's what the Lord had a problem with us about. Us consenting to their laws, giving in to their ways. That's what we still do right now to this day. Right? Why you think people can easily celebrate Christmas? They can easily celebrate wicked Valentine's, man. They can celebrate Halloween. They got Halloween literally in Christian churches. Right? They can our people easily do that. Go ahead,
Also going into, a lot of people say, well, where can you find a feast dedication in your Levitical laws, in your first 5 books? Right? So they'll say, well, a lot of camps don't even keep feast of dedication, right? Because they don't see it in the first 5 books of the law. But the Bible is telling you, that's why you got to read your Bible and read, man, right? That they want to see verbatim, but it's saying these days that we keep, you're doing well if you keep these days, man. This is well doing, man, right? In commemoration of our forefathers, Mattathias, Judas Maccabeus, Simon, right? Jonathan. This was well doing, man, to keep these days for the Most High God. You actually have camps where people don't keep these dedications, right? So we want to make sure that you understand that this is well doing, right? Like we said, we see that we commanded, right, within our apocrypha. But this is well doing. Also going back and seeing how we dedicated the temple before time, right, with Solomon. All right, so we just got to line things up. It's well doing and doing the feast dedication. Go ahead.
Because, and the importance of the feast of dedication, it runs even deeper than just dedicating the temple, right? Because, like I said, it was many other ways that we literally dedicated a lot of things, right? Watch, let me show y'all something right quick. Go to Numbers right quick. Numbers chapter 7. Huh? Who? No. Numbers chapter 7 and verse 84.
Numbers, chapter 7, verse 84.
Right, read it.
This was the dedication of the altar.
So why did it talking about the dedication of the altar? One man see, because the dedicating of the altar was the same thing. When we get ready to read about our history in the Maccabeans, you will see why they dedicated the altar. Right? You will see, because I'm asking brothers, why would they dedicate the altar? But we did sacrifice it, but I need more than that. No, it wasn't profane. Why did we dedicate the altar? Because it was holy. Right? That's why we dedicated the altar, because it was supposed to be a holy thing to us. Right? For us to sacrifice our offering to the Most High God. Right? You don't want to give the Most High God any old thing. Right? That's why our altars, why do you think every time they came in to destroy the temple, what was the main thing they did? They took down our stuff, and then they did what? Destroyed our altar. Right? This is the reason why these things are the important thing, man. Read it out, huh?
This was the dedication of the altar, and the day when it was anointed by the princes of Israel.
In the day that it was anointed by the princes of Israel, read.
12 charges of silver, 12 silver bowls, 12 spoons of gold.
So guess what? These are things that basically goes into the dedication of the altar. Just like going into just a simple fact of dedicating the wall, right, in Nehemiah. Let's go to Nehemiah 12 right quick. Let me touch it right quick.
Even when Ak is breaking it down, Leviticus, Numbers chapter 7 is a heavy chapter. Following back from when I brought out that second Maccabees going into, these are the things that Judas recovered, that the Greeks had stolen, that the Persian and Medes had stolen, that the Babylonians had stolen. These 12 charges, the altars, the golden manure, they stole a lot of things from us, man. A lot of things that most like God blessed us with.
Right? Become. And that's like I said, and these are the things that we definitely gonna have to touch on today, man. Right? Numbers chapter 12, verse 27.
This is the book of
Look at
Numbers.
me, Nehemiah chapter 12 and 27.
This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 12, and verse 27. And at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, they sought the Levites out of all their places.
They sought the Levites out of all their places, read.
To bring them to Jerusalem to keep the dedication.
To do what?
To keep the dedication.
So during the dedication, what did they do? They dedicated to the wall. Why? Let me see why, brother. Brothers gonna wake up, man, today. Cause I'm finna, you brothers seem like y'all lapping water like a dog or something today. Brothers better wake up. Why did they have to dedicate the wall? What did the wall mean to us? I'm really just begging you in to answer. What you got, Junior? Why did, man, look here, man. Look here, brothers. Look here, man. Brothers, I don't think we're gonna never skip another Capt one-on-one, man. But y'all acting like, well, look.
When they took it out of it,
Well, I'm talking about took all the fight out of it, man. Yeah, dang it. Well, Junior got it straight right, man. The wall was our protection. That's why we did. Why you think we dedicated? We have always dedicated the things that the Lord gave us. This has always been a custom of ours. So for us to get a temple, quite naturally, it's gonna be that us dedicating the dang old temple.
that's right. And a what? And a separation from the other nation. Hey, that's why that thing is holy, because it's separating us from these other nations. Guess what? For us keeping our customs, keeping our high holy days separate, keeping our worshiping of the Most High God separate, man. That thing is a heavy thing.
Go back to 2 Maccabees, chapter 2, from read verse 16. Read down a little bit more.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse 16. Whereas we then are about to celebrate the purification, we have written unto you, and ye shall do well.
And you shall do well, read.
If ye keep the same days.
So if you keep the feast of dedication, this is doing well, right? This is the same thing what the Lord said about Christ. He was well pleased in Christ. All right? He said he was well pleased in Christ. Verse 17.
Verse 17. We hope also that the God that delivered all his people and gave them all inheritance.
They delivered all the people and gave them an inheritance, read.
And the kingdom.
And the what?
And the kingdom.
And the kingdom, read.
And the priesthood.
And the priesthood, read.
And the sanctuary.
And the sanctuary. This is why these things are important. The Lord literally gave us a heritage. He gave us the rulership of the world, and he gave us leaders. Right? Verse 18.
Verse 18. As he promised in the law.
As he promised. This was a promise that the Lord made in the law that he was going to do this for us. Right? Why you think Paul is touching on this in Romans chapter 9? Right? Read.
Will shortly have mercy upon us. And gather us together.
And gather us together, read.
Out of every land under heaven.
Out of every land under heaven, read.
Unto the holy place.
Read on.
For he had delivered us out of great troubles.
And he delivered us out of great trouble, read.
And have purified the place.
This is why the purification of the temple is so heavy, man. Right? Verse 19.
Verse 19. Now as concerning Judas Maccabeus and his brother, and the purification of the great temple, and the dedication of the altar.
Y'all see how this goes? That's why the dedicating of the altar, the dedicating of the wall, the dedicating of the temple, these things goes one and the same, because this is what we have always done. When getting things back in order, the Most High God loved that thing, man. That brothers can get things in order. Their sisters can get things in order. Why you think we will fight hand and feet for this thing, man? The Lord literally loved that thing to keep these things in order, man. What you think about if King Solomon never followed the blueprint that King David gave to him to build a temple? Because he literally gave him the blueprint to do it. What if he went on his own accord to do that? It would have been out of order. These have to be in order from the beginning. That's why we get on brothers and sisters about marriages and everything. If you get in this thing in order from the beginning, everything else falls into place. You have to get things in order from the beginning, man. Go to First Chronicles, chapter 28. You got to get things in order from the beginning, and this is what we need to be fighting to get to in Israel, man. Right? First Chronicles, chapter 28, start at verse 8.
It's the book of First Chronicles, chapter 28, and verse 8. Now, therefore, in the sight of all Israel,
Read it.
the congregation of the Lord.
In the sight of all Israel, this is another precept for the congregation. When it's talking about the congregation of the church, guess what? It says, this said, now, therefore, in the sight of all Israel, the congregation of the Lord. Who is the Lord congregation? Israel. Right, read it.
And in the audience of our God, keep and seek for all the commandments of the Lord your God,
right?
That you may possess this good land and leave it for an inheritance.
And leave it for an inheritance. Read.
For your children.
For who?
For your children.
Read.
After you forever.
This goes into Jerusalem, man. Read on.
And thou, Solomon, my son, know thou the God of thy father, and serve him with a perfect heart.
So this is what we need. This is why we go back into our history, meaning the Bible, right? We go back and look at the God of our father and try to serve our God with a perfect heart, right? Read.
And with a willing mind.
And with a willing mind. Because just imagine that the brothers from Maccabeans, what if they didn't have a willing mind to do these things, man? What if right now in this truth, we ain't got a willing mind to keep things in order? That's why it's so heavy that, guess what? The Lord gave us a building, right? We should be thinking the same way about the building that the Lord gave us, right? We got somewhere to keep our holy days. We got somewhere to teach classes at. We got somewhere to build.
Be separated from other
nations. Man, look, to be separated from the other nations, man, we got. Why should we not think about this? Man, brothers and sisters should be, hey, this thing should be, I'm talking about, ran like a well-oiled machine, man. No paper on the ground. Everything nice and neat. Everything in order. But a lot of times, brothers and sisters can't do that, because when you go into their houses don't look like that. You got to learn how to clean your own house before you go over there and try to clean something else. You got to get things in order. Brothers got to get they stuff in order. Sisters have to get their stuff in order too. Because the sister's supposed to be the keeper of the house. What sisters be in to have a house and not have that thing clean, man? And what brothers sit around here now want things clean? Come on, man. We got to dig into our spirit, because guess what? You can wash the outside of your car, but when you get in the inside of your car, you got all kind of trash falling out of it. That says a lot about you. Got to cleanse that thing up, man. Read it.
For the Lord searcheth all
He
hearts
said the Lord searches everybody's heart, all hearts, man. Read.
and understandeth all the imagination
In every imagination, read.
of the thoughts.
Of the thoughts. So whatever your thoughts are, the Lord gonna see how your thought is. Let me see which direction his thoughts gonna go. Because he give us an opportunity to choose life or death, blessings or curses, right? Read it.
If thou seek him, he will be found of thee.
If you seek the Lord, he gonna be found of you, right? You can find him. Read.
But if thou forsake him, he will cast thee off forever.
You see that? It's one and the same. If you seek him, yes, you can find him. But if you don't want to seek him, he can cast you off forever too. You can pick your voice. Verse 10.
Verse 10, take heed now, for the Lord hath chosen thee to build an house for the sanctuary. Be strong and do it.
You see that? The Lord chose Solomon to build a house for what? For the sanctuary. Why do you think it was so important why do you think the sanctuary was so important, man? Right? Why do you think the altars were so important? Why do you think the walls were so important? Why do you think the building was so important? Because we're doing it for the Lord's name. You're not doing it for your own vain name, man. Right? Verse 11 now.
Verse 11. Then David gave to Solomon, his son, the pattern of the porch.
So David gave his son the pattern of the porch. Who walked in Solomon's porch? Let me see what brothers did. Oh, Christ. Right? Christ walked on Solomon's porch, right? Hold what y'all get right quick. We're gonna come back. Go to 1 Kings chapter 7. 1 Kings chapter 7 and verse 1. 1 Kings chapter 7 verse 1.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 7 and verse 1. But Solomon was building his own house.
So Solomon was building his own house, read.
13 years.
13 years, read.
And he finished all his house.
So Solomon finished all his house in 13 years. And this is his own house right beside the temple, right? Jump down to verse 6.
Verse 6. And he made a porch of pillars.
And he made a porch of pillars, read.
The length thereof was 50 cubits.
The length thereof was 50 cubits, read.
And the breadth thereof 30 cubits. And the porch was before them. And the other pillars and the thick beam were before them.
Read.
Then he made a porch for the throne.
And he made a porch for the throne, read.
Where he might judge.
Where he might do what?
Where he might judge.
Where he had the judgment seated. Right, read.
Even the porch of judgment. And it was covered with cedar.
And it was covered with cedar, read.
From one side of the floor to the other.
Right, read on.
And his house, where he dwelt, had another court within the porch, which was of the like word. Right. Solomon made also an house for Pharaoh's daughter,
right,
whom he had taken to wife, like unto this porch.
Like unto this porch. So guess what? This goes into like you're touching on the porch of what Solomon, right? Goes into the porch of Solomon. The same thing we're gonna read here in John chapter 10. Let's go there right quick. That's why these things, right? When you read scripture, these things be symbolic for something else too, right? These ain't they not point things out for no reason. When you read scripture, you're like, dang, why did they say that? This is why these things say this. John chapter 10, verse 22.
It's the book of John, chapter 10, verse 22. It's the book of John, chapter 10, verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem.
It was at Jerusalem, read.
The feast of dedication.
Read on.
And it was winter.
And it was winter. So guess what? we know that the Feast of Dedication is going to be kept in when? Its season. Right? Read.
And Yahweh shall walk in the temple in Solomon's porch.
So in Christ walked in the temple of Solomon's porch. Right? Going into the same thing that is touching on in the Old Testament. But why? Why did Christ have to walk into the temple on Solomon's porch? Why did he have to do that? Let me see what brother said. See if y'all know it before we get there. We gonna touch it. Oh man. Oh man. Matthew chapter 12. Let's read that right quick. Matthew chapter 12 and verse 3.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 12, and verse 3. But he said unto them,
What do you say?
have ye not read what David did when he was in hunger?
So have you not read what David did when he was hungry? Read.
And they that were with him, how he entered into the house of God and did eat the showbread.
This goes into 1 Samuel chapter 21, right? Verses, I think, 1 through 6. This goes into 1 Samuel chapter 21, verses like 1 through 6. But brothers, make sure y'all write that down, because King David wanted he wanted some bread, some common bread. They didn't have no common bread. So they ended up giving King David what? The showbread. Right? Read.
Which was not lawful for him to eat.
Which was not lawful for him to eat, right? Read.
Neither for them which were with him, but only for the priest.
So this bread was only for the priest, right? Read.
Or have ye not read in the law how that on the Sabbath days the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless?
Right? Read.
But I say unto you,
What do you say?
that in this place
That in this place, read.
is one greater than the temple.
It said it's one greater than the temple. Why would it say one greater than the temple? This is the thing that we have to be getting our mind. That's why I say when you read scripture, these things mean something. All right? Jump over to Malachi chapter 3. Start at verse 1.
This is the book of Malachi, chapter 3, and verse 1. Behold, I will send my messenger,
He said, behold, I will send my messenger, read.
and he shall prepare the way before me.
And he shall prepare the way before me, right? Going into who? Brother, you kind of let off a little bit. He said, behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare a way before me. Who is this going into? John the Baptist, right? But read.
And the Lord whom ye seek,
And the Lord whom ye seek, read.
shall certainly come to his temple.
Well, the Lord that he prepared the way for John the Baptist to come. Then who's going to enter into their temple, to his own temple? Christ. Brothers, get that. Right? Let's read that again.
Verse 1 from the top. Behold, I will send my messenger,
He said, behold, I will send my messenger, John the Baptist, read.
and he shall prepare the way before me.
He should prepare the way before Christ, read.
And the Lord whom ye seek,
And the Lord, which is the Mashiach Yahushua, who we seek, read.
shall suddenly come to his temple.
That's why it pointed it out in John chapter 10 that he was going to come into his temple, right? It didn't say where in the temple, but it said he was coming into his temple. He came to his temple. When? In the Feast of Dedication. All right? Read.
Even the messenger of the covenant,
Even the messenger of the covenant, read.
whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts.
He shall come, said the Lord of hosts. Right? Meaning that Christ is going to come into his temple. Right? This was a prophecy that this was going to happen. Right? So you have to find it somewhere. Right? These things, like you say, when you read scripture, these things mean something. You can't just go over it like it's not going to be there. Right? Let's go back to First Chronicles chapter 28. We was on verse 11, I think.
This is the book of First Chronicles, chapter 28, verse 11. And then David gave to Solomon his son the pattern of the porch.
So David gave his son the pattern of the porch, right? Because he already knew that this thing had to be set in a way, because who was coming? Christ was coming. Brothers, what y'all in the back talking about, man? Seems like y'all louder than the class. All right, read.
And of the houses thereof,
And of the houses thereof, read.
and of the treasuries thereof,
And of the treasuries thereof, read.
and of the upper chambers thereof,
Read on.
and of the inner parlors thereof, and of the place of the mercy seat.
So guess what? All these things, King David literally is giving Solomon the blueprint of the house, right?
Real quick, brothers, where did King David get it from? Where did King David get it from? Remember, man, that's why we where did King David get it from? Y'all should know, man. Forefathers, who was his forefathers before him? Let's go to the book of Exodus. That's why it's pivotal. Even like what Capt Jerubbaal is breaking down, when brothers is reading, brothers need to understand context and chronology. That's why it's not a coincidence. We always drilling brothers and sisters on time and dates. Because all you're doing is going back to your forefathers. Let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 26 and verse 30. He got it from Moses, from his forefathers before him. Remember, the Bible is a historical book. It's literally laying out things from the beginning. How we became a nation, who were our first leaders, who was our first kings, what they did good, what they did wrong. This is something that brothers must understand. So it's not a coincidence, like you said, while we asking these questions. You get to read this right quick, huh?
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 26, verse 30. And thou shalt rear up the tabernacle according to the fashion thereof, which was showed thee in the mount.
Read verse 30 again.
Verse 30 from the top. And thou shalt rear up the tabernacle according to the fashion thereof.
According to the fashions thereof. So Moses was getting specific specs for the temple, for the building of the temple. Who gave those things to Moses? Christ. What's the scripture? That's the point, man. Your brother's got to be lined up with the scriptures, man. He's literally giving us specifications. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra right quick. Just give it right back to us. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14 and verse 1. Because all these things was passed down from the Most High to give to Christ, give to the nation of Israel.
It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, verse 1. And it came to pass upon the third day, I sat under an oak, and behold, there came a voice out of a bush.
Now, not that one. I want that's with Ezra. I want the one with Moses. Lucky. Jump over verse 3. Chapter. It's another chapter. Most High God showed to Moses, chapter 4. You know what I want. Well, Christ came to Moses in
Dang, who can beat him there?
Yeah, with Most High in 2nd Ezra. These things shalt thou declare, and these things shalt thou hide. Bear with me, brothers and sisters.
Chapter 14,
Verse 6.
yeah, these words shall not declare these.
Oh, okay. So I was there. I'm thinking about Ezra. Read verse 3. That's the point. Thanks, Doc.
It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, verse 3. Then said he unto me, in the bush I did manifestly reveal myself unto Moses, and talked with him when my people served in Egypt.
So what do you think that Christ was telling Moses when he had him up there in the mountain? He was telling them and giving them the history, the beginning, the Middle Ages, giving them the specifications of the building when he was up there for 40 days and 40 nights. Moses was getting all this knowledge. Read on up.
And I sent him and led my people out of Egypt and brought him up to the mount of Sinai, where I held him by me a long season.
That long season was how many days, brothers? 40 days, 40 nights. Read on up.
And told him many wondrous things.
What do you think Christ was telling him of those many wondrous things? Giving him the specifications on how to build the temple, the correct measurements, what he wanted in there. Guess what? Then he left that over for King David. King David left it for Solomon. Read on up.
And showed him the secrets of the time.
So we understand, Moses understood that it was secrets of the time. That's why he wasn't tripping when he didn't make it to the promised land. Why? Because he was showed there too. Read on up.
At the end, and commanded him, saying, these words shalt thou declare.
Meaning these things make understandable for the people. Read on.
And these shalt thou hide.
Make these things in deep sayings and parables and similitudes. Make these things hard to understand. So when you read in certain scriptures, guess what? If you're not taught by learned men, you won't get the understanding. Go ahead,
Let's go back to Second Chronicle, First Chronicle. I want to say Second Chronicle, bad, huh? First Chronicle, chapter 28. And we read verse 11, verse 12. Like I said, these things were passed down for generations. So these, guess what? Just imagine if any one of them would have been out of order and gave anything the wrong way. Dang, it would have been chaos. Pretty tough. Right? But read it up.
This is the book of First Chronicles, chapter 28 and verse 12.
Right, read it.
And the pattern of all that he had by the Spirit of the courts of the house of the Lord, and of all the chambers round about.
So he gave him the pattern. He said he gave him the pattern that he had by the Spirit. So that means King David was what he was in the Spirit when he gave it to him. Right? Read.
Of the treasuries of the house of God.
He gave him the chambers of the treasure of the house of God. Read.
And of the treasuries of the dedicated things.
And of the treasury of the dedicated things, the things that we supposed to be dedicated to the Lord. Right? Read.
Also for the courses of the priests,
right,
and the Levites.
Read.
And for all the work of the service of the house of the Lord, and for all the vessels of service in the house of the Lord.
And so, so all these things, guess what? Just think about it. King David really laid this thing out. Only thing Solomon had to do was just follow the blueprint. It was laid out for him, right? But guess what? Y'all know how our people go. Guess what? When we in order, we in order. But when we out of order, but we damn sure out of order too. Right? Go to 1 Kings chapter 5. We're going to start at verse 1. 1 Kings chapter 5. We're going to try to touch on the building of the temple a little bit. We ain't going to hit everything, but we're going to touch on it though. 1 Kings chapter 5. We're going to start at verse 1.
It's the book of 1 Kings, chapter 5, verse 1. And Hiram, king of Tyre.
So he said, Hiram, king of Tyre. Remember that name, Hiram, king of Tyre.
Sent his king in the room of his father, for Hiram was ever a lover of David.
Man, just think about it. Why do you think Christ talked about Tyre? Let me see what brothers did before I go there, because I'm going to touch it.
Who is Tyre? Tyre was one of the nations that was before. What race was that? That was the Hamite nation.
It was a Hamite nation, right? A Hamite nation. Tyre. Why do you think Christ talked about Tyre?
They made themselves.
I need an answer. What? Give me more. Matter of fact, the reason why the reason I'm bringing it up because we want to have an understanding on why these things are being said, right? Well, see why these things are being said. Now, the nation of Tyre, the Lord really made this like a symbolic thing, right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 11, right? Matthew chapter 11, and we're going to go to verse, let me see. 1 second. Matthew chapter 11, and start at verse 20. Matthew chapter 11 and verse 20.
The book of St. Matthew, chapter 11 and verse 20. Then began he to upbraid the city.
So they was, Christ just got finished cutting up scribes and Pharisees, talking about him and John the Baptist. They was telling them John the Baptist, man, look, he said he didn't drink, right? He fasted all the time. They said John the Baptist had a devil, right? So when Christ came, he drank and he didn't fast. Guess what? And they still thought they said he was a wine bibber. Christ said, we don't dance every kind of way that y'all wanted, and y'all still wasn't satisfied. And that's how we are as the nation of Israel. The Lord can put many blessings in front of us, and we just still are never satisfied. We ain't good at the Most High God ain't never been good enough for us. And that's how we try to treat our God. That's why they have a problem with us, right? But read it up.
Verse 20. Then began he to upbraid the city, wherein most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. Woe unto thee, Chorazin! Woe unto thee, Bethsaida!
Right?
For if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Zidon,
So the Lord said, if these mighty works would have been done in Tyre and Zidon, read.
they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes.
Read on.
But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Zidon at the day of judgment than for you.
What is it talking about? See what brothers there. What is it talking about? Saying what? No. You're calling out the wrong thing right now. That's why I answered you the first time. Try to give you an opportunity to revisit it. Meaning what? He said if Tyre and Zidon would have knew that they could have had the same blessing that we'd have had, basically, guess what? They would have been repented.
They would have came to another nation.
If the Lord would have came to another nation, he would have accepted. Why do you think the Lord said my last gonna be my first? And my first gonna be my last? Because if we came to any other nation, any other nation would have accepted the Lord. Right? But guess what? That let us know how Israelites, we can tell Israelites, look how wicked we wicked Negro don't want nothing.
I ain't gonna lie, that thing is heavy because Chorazin is a city in Galilee. That city is a city close to Galilee. Remember, Christ was doing mighty works in those cities, meaning he was healing the people, and they would still rejected Christ. Healing the people in that place, and they still rejected him. So even like I could point back to the history, you have an African Hamite king, even though we know that the Most High God put the spirit on the other nations to guess what, follow Solomon's lead. That's how he got peace on every side. But that's why they still gonna have more mercy in that day than our damn people, man. Because guess what? They rejected Christ, man. You see Christ healing all the people and you still reject them, man. That's wicked as hell, man. Wicked, man. Think about some of the things that we do on a spiritual level. When we guess what? Bringing out the scriptures, and guess what? Through the power of the Most High and His Son, Yahweh shall get brothers to change from being drug dealers, whoremongers, sisters being whores, being what? Drug addicts. Guess what? Not taking care of their families. Guess what? We apply those laws, statutes, commandments. Those give the people the ability to change, man. So that's a great thing. So it's a heavy judgment that Christ is placing on these people, man. Go ahead, Doc.
And you gotta, like Ox pointed out, you gotta think. Why do you think he said the judgment gonna start in the house of Israel first, man? Because guess what? The Lord gonna plead with 2/3 of our people, man. He gonna plead with them, man. I'm talking about face to face. Guess what? Every one of our folks, every one of our husbands, wives, grannies, children, every one of them that rejected the Bible, that rejected the Lord. That's why it says it's more tolerable. It's more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon than them. He talking about it's more tolerable for another nation than us, than the 2/3. Well, the Lord gonna bring the hammer down, man. Go ahead.
That's the same thing you said in John. I mean, Matthew chapter 10, it says be more tolerable than what? Sodom and Gomorrah. Meaning, guess what, man? You'd rather have not known this thing, but you'd rather been a part of the other nations than for you to have this knowledge and not accept it. Like I said, to reject this thing, man, it's gonna be heartache and painful for a lot, man. That's exactly what the Lord is using. He's using similar tools, parables to show you. It's not literally saying Zion, Tyre. Not literally saying that. Saying you're gonna be way off the them. You're gonna get the same judgment as them. Going into what? Hand in hand. Same thing. Go ahead, Al.
Let's go back to 1 Kings chapter 5. 1 Kings chapter 5. What was it? Start verse 1 again. We'll read it.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 5, and verse 1. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants unto Solomon, for he had heard that they had anointed him king in the room of his father.
Right, read.
For Hiram was an ever lover of David.
So Hiram was a lover of David, meaning what? He seen how David was whooping names and taking names. Guess what? He didn't want no smoke. And he was going to make a good friend of him. Right? He already knew how King David rolled. You going to get down or you going to lay down. Right? And so get what Hiram did? He was a good old servant for King David. Right? Verse 2.
Verse 2. And Solomon sent to Hiram, saying, Thou knowest how that David my father could not build an house unto the name of the Lord his God,
right?
For the wars which were about him on every side.
On every side, read.
Until the Lord put them under the soles of his feet.
See, you see how they go? That's why Hiram, guess what? He said, you know how my father got down. He was kicking butt and taking name. Right? Read.
But now the Lord my God hath given me rest on every side.
So the Lord gave Solomon rest on every side. Read.
So that there is neither adversary nor evil occurring.
Right? So he gave him rest on every side. So he ain't had no adversary. So meaning that he didn't have to fight against these other nations. Why did he do it? It's been explained in verse 5.
And behold, I propose to build an house unto the name of the Lord God, on the Lord my God.
So this is the reason why that King Solomon, the Lord gave him, the Lord literally gave him, y'all have it there. No, I just messing with you. So he literally gave King Solomon rest on every side to build a temple. Right? It wasn't just, he didn't have rest just for nothing. You know, he gave him rest because he needed something for him. Right? Just like what you think is gonna happen when the heathens start when the heathen when the king come back and the heathen come back to work for us. Guess what? They gonna have to go to work, and we're gonna have to oversee these things, man. But we're gonna have to be in order with the Lord, man. Right? But read on, verse 5.
And behold, I propose to build an house unto the name of the Lord my God, as the Lord spake unto David my father, saying, Thy son, whom will I set upon thy throne in thy room? He shall build an house unto my name.
So this was King Solomon that had built a house and took for the Lord's name. Go to Deuteronomy right quick. We coming back. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 20. Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 4.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 20 and verse 4. For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you.
So the Lord your God is he that goeth with you, right? He said to fight. Read the rest of it.
To fight for you against your enemy, to save you.
To save you, right? Verse 5.
And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there that had built a new house?
He said, what man is there that has built a new house? Read.
And has not dedicated.
And has not dedicated to it, right? Read.
Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate.
So this is the reason why King Solomon had to have peace. Because if he was at war, he couldn't be building the house. That's why he had to set these, that's why he had King David to set these things in order. Because guess what? These scriptures cannot be broken. Brothers, get that. That's why things had to be set in order. Things had to be set, guess what? So the work of the Lord to be done correctly. That's why if the Lord didn't set up King Solomon for him to die while he's building the temple, another brother's going to come up here to build the rest of the temple. No, he wasn't to do all of it. No, the Lord set that thing in order. He let King David do the work so his son come back and build the temple. Right? Go back to 1 Kings. Chapter 5, jump down to verse 10.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 5 and verse 10. So Hiram gave Solomon cedar trees and fir trees according to all his desire.
So Hiram gave King Solomon materials, right? Read.
And Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 measures of wheat for food.
And he paid him for it. So he didn't just get it. No, he gave him now. Because that's how we roll, man. You go, we'll give you a little something, man. Go on about your business. Right? Read.
To his household, and 20 measures of pure oil. Thus gave Solomon to Hiram year by year.
Year by year. Read why the temple was being built. Read.
And the Lord gave Solomon wisdom, as he promised him. And there was peace between Hiram and Solomon. And they two made a league together.
And they made a league together, meaning he was giving Solomon materials to build the temple. Right? Jump over chapter 6 and verse 1.
Chapter 6 and verse 1. And it came to pass in the 480 years after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt. In the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month Zip, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Lord.
So this is the beginning of the building of the house of the Lord. Right? He got his material. Guess what King Solomon did? He sat down, he counted the cost. Now after he counted the cost, guess what? He got all his workers and got all the Levites, got all the people there what he had to set in order to be able to build the house. Right? Now it's been to show going into the actual starting build of the temple, right? Jump down to verse 7. This is how I'm gonna show you. This is how pivotal just how the Lord worked, even in work. Because when it's good, when the Lord make it good, he make it good, man. Watch the read verse 7.
Verse 7. In the house, when it was in building.
In the house, when it was in building, read.
Was built of stone.
It was built of stone, read.
Made ready before it was brought thither.
Right? Before it was brought up, read.
So that there was neither hammer, nor axe, nor any tool of iron heard in the house.
Y'all see that? I don't see. Did y'all catch that? That's tough, huh? That's tough. I want to see, did y'all catch it? What did it say? It didn't say no tools. Read that again.
In the house when it was in building.
In the house when it was in building, read.
Was built of stone.
It was built of stone.
Made ready before it was brought thither.
It was made ready before it was brought thither. The next part is what it's going to explain. Read.
So that there was neither hammer nor axe nor any tool of iron heard in the house while it was in building.
So the stone was already made.
They made the stone walls up, but they right. Meaning what? While the house was being built, they made. Why you think they get? This is why you think they get like what y'all call modular homes. Yeah. Why you think they can put up a building so fast nowadays? Why do you think they can put up a building so fast? They had that thing set up already. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, yeah. Passing them everything. Everything but Yari glass, huh? Meaning, guess what? They said while the house was being built. So while Solomon's house was, while the temple was being built, it wasn't, you didn't hear no axe, you didn't hear no tools going, you didn't hear nothing. Boy, that's tough. Man, I'm talking about how in order do you have to be to have that thing set in place? But then they turn around and say, oh, y'all couldn't have built the temple. I mean, y'all couldn't have built the pyramid. Then how in the hell they do that? Right? Makes no sense with them. They just be talking, man. No, Christians just be talking. Verse 21.
1 Kings chapter 6 and verse 21. So Solomon overlaid the house within with pure gold.
So after the walls and everything was put up, and after the altar, they brought in the Ark of the Covenant. Man, they did a lot. Solomon overlaid the house in pure gold, man. Read.
And he made a partition.
This one.
And he made a partition. Read.
And he made a partition. And he made, so like by the chains of gold before the oracle. And he overlaid it with gold.
And he overlaid it with gold, man. Just think of that work, man. Ooh. Man, I ain't gonna lie. I can just imagine going in there. I'd be scared. Man, I'm talking about, man, you wouldn't walk in there with your shoes on, man. You wouldn't walk in there with your shoes on, man. You wouldn't walk in there with a raglan garment on, nothing. You would. Why do you think, man, when you going up there to go see the king, you have to be in order? Man, you just won't be able to walk up there any old willy-nilly. No. You're going to come in order, man. Guess what? This is the same frame of mind you need to have now. Why would our mind be any different, man? Because guess what? If we can't prepare our mind for this right now, then what you think going to happen when we make it to the wilderness? What you think is going to happen when after the wilderness and your mind still ain't prepared? We got to be preparing for that thing now. We got to be preparing for that thing. Because if we not preparing for that thing, guess what? Hey, brother's going to be, you're going to be in the kingdom and be like, I'm so sorry for your mother. Right? Man, look, man, that's a special thing, man. Right? Overlaid it with gold. Look at, you got the walls and the outside that's laid. Look here, it says that you ain't hear no cutting no stone, no tools. You ain't hear no hammer, and they putting this thing up right in front of the world. Boy, look here, man. That's special. Right? Jump over to chapter 7 and verse 1.
1 Kings chapter 7 and verse 1. But Solomon was building his own house 13 years, and he finished all his house.
Right?
He built also the house of the forest of Lebanon. The length thereof was 100 cubits, and the breadth thereof 50 cubits, and the height thereof 30 cubits, upon 4 rows of cedar pillars, with cedar beams upon the pillars.
So just like y'all remember what we read in 1 Chronicles chapter 28, he gave him the blueprint, not just to the temple, but to the houses. He said houses. So it was multiple houses. That's why we revisited it, because it was multiple houses that he did. Right? Jump over to chapter 8 and verse 62.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 8 and verse 62. And the king and all Israel with him offered sacrifice before the Lord.
So now, this is after the temple is already built. And after it's built, guess what's happening? Now it's time for the sacrifice to the Lord. Right? Read.
And Solomon offered a sacrifice of peace offering, which he offered unto the Lord, 22,000 oxen and 120,000 sheep. So the king and all the children of Israel dedicated the house of the Lord.
Right, read.
The same day did the king hollow the middle of the court that was before the house of the Lord. For there he offered burnt offerings and meat offerings, and the fat of the peace offering, because the brazen altar that was before the Lord was too little to receive the burnt offering, and meat offerings, and the fat of the peace offering.
Read it.
And at that time Solomon held a feast, and all Israel with him, a great congregation, from the entering in of Hamath unto the river of Egypt, before the Lord our God, 7 days and 7 days, even 14 days. On the 8th day he sent the people away, and they blessed the king and went into their tents.
So on the 8th day he did what? They had a feast for 14 days, but on the 8th day he sent the people away. Why? That was the completion of the dedication. That's why they sent the people away, right? There was completion of the 8 days. Read.
On the 8th day he sent the people away, and they blessed the king and went into their tents joyful and glad of heart for all the goodness that the Lord had done for David his servant, and for Israel his people.
Right? So that's why it's an important thing for brothers and sisters to do the dedication, man. I know a lot of times people, I mean, especially when you read scriptures, man, we should look into these things a little bit further, man. Why are these things occurring? Why do we have to keep the dedication? Man, what does the dedication mean to me? That's why I say when brothers, especially when we got our holy days, just like when we got Passover coming up, you should be reading about Passover, right? You got first fruits coming up. You should be reading about first fruits. All these things mean something, right? Even the new moons, right? If you don't know about the new moons, you should see why do we celebrate new moon, right? Why do we say not buy and sell on new moon? Right? Why is it saying these things? Don't go by word of mouth. Show me in the scripture what that means, brother. Right? Let the scripture, let God be true and let every man be a liar. That's how it's supposed to be, right? Let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1. So this is why the temple was so important. Like I just showed you, like just showed a small picture of what the temple looked like. Just imagine how the temple, and we got this beautiful temple, and these heathens coming to destroy our damn temple. God dang it. This is serious. Right? This is a serious occasion. First Maccabees chapter, which one?
Before we go there, let's go back to 1 Kings right quick. Get a precept real quick. We're gonna go back to 1 Kings chapter 8, and you just go ahead and see. Yeah. I mean 9 and 6, like. And we just read of Solomon doing everything in the temple, ready, sacrificing in the temple, the 8 days completion. Now the Lord is visiting Solomon the second time. Right? Read 9 and 6.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 9 and verse 6. Bring it out. But if you shall at all turn from following you or your children,
Ye or your children, read,
and will not keep my commandments and my statutes, which I have set before thee, but go and serve other gods and worship them.
Read on.
Then will I cut off Israel out of the
He
land,
said, I will cut off Israel out of the land. What else?
which I have given them, in this house, which I have hallowed for my
And
name.
what?
In this house, which I have hallowed for my name.
So he said he would cut off Israel from the land and take away this house, right? For his name. Right now, when did this house get taken away from us? So one other time. That's right. What we're gonna go into right now. Because of what? Disobedience. That's why when you see that the Lord has given us understanding that we should, in fact, that it definitely is a commandment to what? To dedicate our temple back to the Most High God. And I know I can go into it later, but showing it now, it's not the temple now, but we're rebuilding it, which is our bodies, right? Our living sacrifices. But we definitely have to rededicate ourselves back to the Most High God. And this is an ongoing thing, right? We know this dedication is one time a year, but you should rededicate yourself daily, right? Because he said, if ye or your children pass from this, I'm going to take away that house that I hallowed from. We know that came to pass, right? We know that came to pass twice, so we're going to go into it. That's all I want to show.
Real quick, I know I had said it. What was the first time it got taken away? Babylon. What year? 586 BC. Remember, we going over the same things over And over and over again, we're trying to build a picture for brothers and sisters, man. That I can see the bewilderness look on brother's face line. And it's a simple question. Going back to Deuteronomy chapter 28, that's why we always ask the brothers and sisters about the captivities. Once you understand chronology, you understand the Bible a whole lot better.
That's right, man. Like you say, go serve other gods and worship them. They out here just got through doing whack, wicked Christmas. Then they're gonna go into whack, wicked what? New Year's, right? These are serving other gods, man. These are worshiping other gods. That's why we got to make sure that we rededicate this temple daily, man. Like I said, man, the Lord gave us a house to bring out the word of God, to come and give sacrifices, spiritual sacrifices for ourselves. We got to make sure this thing kept up, man. This is all we got, man. Like I said, you come in here, you get away from the world. You ain't worried about nothing out there. 30 laws out there, we ain't giving a damn what they got going, right? That's outside, because right now we know we in the temple of the Lord. Make sure you put that in your mind, man. We got to rededicate ourselves, man, daily. Right? Can't put new wine in old bottles. Go ahead,
Big on that. Go to Daniel chapter 8 right quick. Daniel chapter 8, verse 8.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And for it came up for a notable one toward the four winds of heaven.
Well, y'all can't tell me what this means. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a problem today. But I know what the captain looking for. I'll tell you.
Put on the boxing
Oh,
glove.
I'm trying to look, boy, today.
Boxing up and fix the dedication, man. Look, Daoud don't want to look up, man. Don't look up. Brothers are not giving brothers eye contact, man. It's cold. Brothers will be taking those good notes, man.
Brother Fred, where you at?
No, we ain't asking Fred.
Yeah, for real.
Twin.
Look. Come on, man. Come on outside.
For real,
It's in the
man.
name of love. The video.
Southside, right now.
What is this going into? You looking at one part. What is this going into?
Brothers don't take good notes.
Therefore, the goat waxed very, very great. But we not calling on you. You can put this finger down.
Man, y'all got to use context clues, y'all.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Right before I interrupted and brought a precept before where were we going? We were going to go to Maccabean, right?
You said that. Ezra.
Use your context clues, right? What is this going to? Who is the he-goat? Basically. No, Bernard, twin.
Okay, who before the four generals?
It said the he-goat. Who is the he-goat?
Who's before the
Come
four
on,
generals?
context clues. Like I said, who was before the four generals?
God.
Hey, what a blood that man. Nehemiah had to contend with.
Oh, I'm gonna continue with y'all.
Come on, man.
Say it again, Daoud.
Alexander.
Alexander.
The freak.
Right. That's right.
You said the four generals. I said who before the
Who was
four generals?
before the four generals? What did the four generals spring out of?
They came from what?
The freak.
Yeah. Dang.
Good job, Daoud. Brothers, just write it down.
For real,
Just
man.
write it down next to your scriptures, man.
Right, for real. Just write that. Look, these flashcards, man. I'm talking about. Look here.
Some burning bugs. Put it right on the manure.
Boy, I'm trying to say, you burn all of them. You got to write in your Swiss order. Man, look, we got writing in our Swiss order. Come on, write anything. Then when you get called on, then you ain't got no answer because you can't. Then you gotta flip back to your note cards, man. Man, look here, man. I'm finna bring one of them sisters in there, man. Hey, pray to the Lord, put on the windmill switch on one of y'all, man. They can just windmill the hell out y'all. Dang it.
Brothers and sisters that don't have it, just write it down. Alexander the Greek, or the freak, I mean.
Is the ego.
Is the ego.
The four notable ones is the four generals.
Name them. Now.
Hold up. Brother KJV, name him.
You only know one.
Okay. I'm gonna say it. I got to say it. Bro.
Can I get the one? Can we get the one? No, forgive him in your book, man. The one I know.
Okay. Now I'm gonna show y'all, brothers. Y'all know the reason why we ask y'all questions like this. The reason why we ask y'all this, huh? Not just that. We ask y'all questions like that is because when you can't answer that question, that means you don't need to be teaching.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You don't. That's just point blank period. Why would you be able to try to teach something and you don't really know nothing about it? You swinging at the fences. What if you saying all the wrong things? Guess what? That judgment will fall upon you too.
That's a great point.
Brothers don't need to be. When you out there battling, get what your ass out the spirit. You need to be getting yourself built up before you do that. It says, do we need to go to Hebrews? Because it says it plain. That means you're still a babe. Right? Now, name the four. We still ain't got the four. No, we ain't fault. We calling in one of y'all. I'm finna ask y'all. Name the four, Junior. Four generals of Alexander. Can you name them? You can't name them? Okay. That's why I was hoping that he got you. Mm-hmm. But you did good. You did good. Now.
Say, tune in a little bit of now. What y'all got? We'll look them up there. So I gotta look up this note. What was that one, brother KJB? Oh, he did.
He said, Batami. What you got, little bit? All right,
so we got the first one that starts with B.
Batami, yeah.
Then we got Sam.
Okay.
Then we got that.
So this is
You ain't even say it, bro. At least try to pronounce it like some.
So yeah. And then Antigonus. Yeah.
what?
Antigonus.
Antiochus or Antiochus.
Nepiosis. No. Yeah. For real, man. Name. Twin name. Let me see.
Oh, it's too late now, KJB.
It's Solutions. Right? So, verse 8, read that again.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and forth came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven.
So, I mean, after the great one was broken, meaning Alexander died. And after Alexander died, the four generals popped up. Well, during Alexander's reign, the four generals popped up. But then they went out to start ruling the world. Verse 9.
Verse 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east.
Benaniyah broke this thing down a couple of weeks ago. Who was this, brother? Right?
Who did he come from?
Yes, that's a good one.
The line of solutions.
All praise, God.
Right? Read on.
That's a good too.
Read on.
Verse 9, so like in verse 10. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts.
So now it said it waxed straight to the host of heaven, going into what the children of Israel, and it cast down some of the children of Israel, right? Read.
And of the stars to the ground,
Uh-huh.
and stamped upon them.
And stamped upon them. Read.
Yea, he magnified himself, even to the prince of the hosts. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. In the place of his sanctuary was cast down.
And the place of the sanctuary was cast down, right? Read.
And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground. And it practiced and prospered.
Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1. First Maccabees chapter 1. Read 1.
Book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
The first over Greece. That's what we were reading in Daniel chapter 8 and verse 8. Right? Read.
And made many wars,
He made many wars. Read.
and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth.
And he slew the kings of the earth, meaning he took over the earth. Right? That's why he said that goat waxed very great. Read.
And he went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations.
And he took spoils of many nations. Read.
In so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
So guess what? He came through. That means he was putting the world into submission. Alexander the Greek came. Guess what? Literally in free. I know. Maccabees had that one book showing that one of the wars that Alexander had. He was fighting against. Man, he says, imagine he had like 40,000 troops, and they all of them come to fight against us, and they all of them naked. What the hell? 40,000 naked Edomites come here and fight, man. Man. I don't know about y'all, but I'm telling you, I'm finna run. I'm finna run, man. I don't think I'm gonna stay there, man. I'm just looking at y'all, man. I'm like, I don't know if y'all want it, bro.
They had to do it. They attack you on the Sabbath. No, you can't, but they had to do
They had to,
Cunning hunters.
it.
right? And just think about it. They came every way that they could possibly come to try to. That's right. They try to throw us off. Right? Why do you think they threw the strike? They still right now try to throw us off. Right? But read on up.
Like verse 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him.
Meaning they paid taxes to who? No, Alexander. That's later on. Read.
And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die.
So now, when he fell sick, this is the same thing. This is all going into Daniel chapter 8. All right? How guess what? He ruled for how long did he rule? Let me see, brothers got something on him.
12 years.
12 years. All right? Read on.
Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
And they parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. Read.
So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
So he reigned 12 years, and hallelujah, the freak died. He straight died. Right? Jump down to chapter 2, verse 1.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 1. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest.
What?
A priest of the sons of Joarib from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin.
And that word Modin is where what happened to Modin? Let me see if brothers know. Where they buried, that's a burial place. for the children of Israel. That's where they buried them at. Right? Those are various plots for them. Right? What you looking? Why you looking like that for?
That sounds familiar, that name. Modine.
Modine.
Right?
Read on.
Verse 2. And he had 5 sons: Johanan called Capt, Simon called Thassi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus.
So, what Mattathias? What they call it? What's this thing called? Let's see, Hasmonean dynasty. Y'all heard that? What that mean? Has mean the, Monius means
Simeon. Simeon dynasty.
Hasmonean dynasty goes into
Mattathias. Mattathias
father.
goes into what? I mean, tribe goes into Simeon, right?
Hasmonean dynasty. It goes into the Hasmonean dynasty. This goes into the Maccabean. So these things go correlate one and the same. You see Hasmonean dynasty, you correlate that to what?
The
Maccabeans. So these things can't be thrown off. Man, it got to be, you know how Esau, they want to go. No,
Has means the.
Monius means. But go ahead.
Con. Eleazar called Aaron, and Jonathan, whose surname was Apis.
Right, read.
And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and
He
Jerusalem,
seen a blasphemy that was committed in Jerusalem.
Right, read.
he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people?
When did the Maccabean revolt start? Let's see what brothers it. Yeah, when Mattathias was zealous. The sons of Simeon, huh?
Matthias, we was zealous at that time when he on the altar, they were trying to get him fed to swine face.
The year. I want the year. The year. What is it? I know it's the Hasmonean dynasty. I think it was like 170 something BC to 160 something. I think it's like 174, 170 something to like 167, 68. You know, the time frames kind of fluctuate back and forth, but kind of up in that area. It's like 170 to 160 something BC. 167. I know it's kind of close to that. So you put 160, 167 BC. 170, 160 when the revolt came. Right? But let's read on.
And he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see the misery of my people, and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hands of the stranger.
In the sanctuary, this goes in. So when they start seeing this, we're just like it's a lot of stuff going on. So man, you see,
Going to Battle Daycare.
you bring all them up here to come up here. As long as it's children, I ain't talking about the grown folk. They don't even know how to whisper. But
So read verse 7 again.
Con, verse 7. He said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see the misery of my people, and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hands of the
in
stranger.
the sanctuary to the stranger.
Her temple has become as a man without glory.
They say a temple is coming to a man without glory.
Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy.
Read on.
What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom, and gotten of her spoils?
Man, y'all think of this. He said, what nation have not put us into slavery? They done took everything from us. They done benefit all from us for years. What nation have not taken part of this? And they think, oh man, God love everybody. But what nation have not taken part into taking things from us? Just think about it. They still do this right now. Why do you think they got stores in our hoods, man? They still taking, they ain't never stopped robbing us, man. Guess what? They put all the worst food in the worst part of the town. And guess what? They want to put sickness on you. Right? Then when you come into their store, they look at you crazy. Yeah, we in there. Yeah. What kind of fruit y'all got? Oh, y'all watermelon got seeds in it, huh? Y'all grapes got seeds in it, huh? But then you put the seedlings on our side, man. Come on, man. Make that thing make sense. The Lord said he gave you every seed, every fruit yielding seed. Right?
Jump
Over
over
to chapter 3. No. I won't. Chapter 3 and start at verse 42.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 42. Now when Judas and his brethren saw that miseries were multiplied, and that the forces did encamp themselves in their borders,
I read.
for they knew how the king had given commandment to destroy the people and utterly abolish them.
So this is the same thing that we was reading in chapter 2, right? It's talking about how all these nations, they was coming against us, right? And it seemed the misery, right? Seeing the affliction that the people was going against, man. Right? Verse 43, read on.
They said one to another,
What they say?
let us restore the decayed state of our people.
Well, I know this one Benaniyah, boy, favorite precept. Because this is what brothers and sisters got to be thinking about. Restoring the decayed state of our people. This is why it's so important to be dedicated. This is why it's so important to be dedicated the feast of dedication. Right? It's not just to get you in the spirit of dedicating the temple, but get you in the spirit of dedicating yourself to the Lord, man. Right? Read.
Let us restore the decayed state of our people, and let us fight for our people.
And let us fight for our people. Read.
And the sanctuary.
And for our sanctuary, and for our church, man. Read.
Then was the congregation gathered together, that they might be ready for battle.
Read on.
And that they might pray and ask mercy and compassion.
So this is what we need to be doing, brothers. Sisters, we need to be doing this. Praying to the Lord, trying to get this mercy back. Because we know we cannot, guess what? We can physically dominate every nation in the world. But if we don't got the Most High God on our side, they're going to destroy us by dividing and conquering us every single time. Because it's going to take up 1, 2 high-minded Negroes. Guess what? Here you go. Right? Even during the time of Maccabeans, you think they had it, everything was all good in their time? Hell no. They still had people fully rejecting it. Why you think they had to run the caves to try to keep certain? These brothers literally had to do these things. Because guess what? All our people wasn't going to hearken to the Most High. Some of the people love what's going on in the world. All right?
Let me get that right quick. Let's go back. First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 22. Start at verse 23. We're going to get straight to the point.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 23. Now when he had left speaking these words,
many inspiring words trying to do what? Trying to compel the people to come back. Read on up.
There came one of the Jews in the sight of all.
Like what Capt Jerubbaal was saying. Wicked Israelite, man. I always got to go against the grain and against the Most High. Read on.
To sacrifice on the altar, which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment.
According to the king's commandment, not according to who? The Most High's commandment. Read on up.
Which thing, when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal.
This thing pissed Mattathias off, man. Read on up.
And his reins trembled.
And this how brothers and sisters should feel, man, when we see sisters out of order, when we see children out of order, when we see men out of order, man. This thing should inflame your zeal, man. Make you want to, guess what? Go hard in the paint for the Most High, for our people, man. Read on up.
And his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger, according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar.
He ran and did what?
And slew him upon the altar.
So guess what? Some of our people, guess what, man? In that day, a lot of our people gonna die, man. And it's just saying it plainly. That's what's going to happen. Like I keep reiterating the 2/3, man. Israel must stand the judgment first, man, because we're gonna be some of the first enemies to come against us is our own people, man. Go ahead,
Big con on there.
Go back to chapter
3, 45. And like I say, man, this thing right here should put that fight in you, man. Just like even going into the dedication, piece of dedication should put another fight in you, man. Right?
read that.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 45. Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness. Read. There was none of her children that went in or out.
So now you just think about our temple and think about our city.
It said it was, man, it was a wilderness.
Man,
That's right.
man, that's what you think out. Just looking at our cities now. America is not our rest, man. Think about our homeland. Brothers and sisters, this should put brothers and sisters back in like, dang, y'all don't want to go back, man. God dang it, man. I'm so sick of this mug, man. Right? But we know we in captivity. We know we got to see this thing through. Right? But when the Maccabees, when they seen it, our city was wilderness, man. Right? Read it.
Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness. There was none of her children that went in or out.
Read it.
The sanctuary also was trodden down, and aliens kept the stronghold.
This is what happening to our homeland right now. Aliens keeping our cities and our sanctuaries over there, and keeping our cities strongholds right now, man.
Right, read.
The heathen had their habitation in that place.
That's what it is right now. The heathens are in our place.
Read. And joy was taken from Jacob.
And joy. Why you think, man, this in captivity, man, this thing is terrible, man. The Lord says what in Deuteronomy chapter 28 says, guess what? This is the reason why, one of the reasons why the Lord took and put us into captivity, because we didn't serve him with joyfulness and gladness of heart, man. Right? So now, guess what? We got to serve our enemies, man. Read.
And the pipe with the harp ceased.
Read on.
Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Mizpah over against Jerusalem. For in Mizpah was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel.
So this was a place where they went to go pray at, man. Mizpah. Read.
Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads.
Read.
And rent their clothes and laid open the book of the law.
And laid open the book of the law. Read.
Wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their image.
What the hell you think they doing now? They constantly keep painting images. That's so funny, man. Just like even if a person just to go to get, if you want to buy furniture and I want to buy a dresser, if I want to buy a white dresser, they call it whitewashed. That's crazy, huh? Because you got to literally paint wood to turn it another color. They call it thing whitewashed. What you think they did for our images? They whitewashed our images. They just like, man, I'm telling you something. I think Benaniyah said this, man, probably 8, 9, 10 years ago. I remember we was over there at body at the time.
Man, this brother was like, man,
What did Black Jesus got to do?
and that was my first time hearing it too.
You know how sometimes brother throw you the alley-oop, man.
He be like, damn, he make you think about it.
Benaniyah was out there teaching, and I think I was on Satine or something. And the brother said, "What do Black Jesus got to do with anything?" He said, "Man, just imagine if we had the black image of Christ in all these churches. Imagine what kind of spirit it put on all the brothers, man. Imagine you got 40, 50 black folks in this church and they sing hallelujah and they praising, but then they got these white images up here. You put that same black image up there, that'll put, you know how much confidence that give our nation, man? That'll put more confidence back in our people. Our people lack confidence, man. Why you think they ain't got enough confidence to serve a black Jesus? That's why I say I have been watching the Good Time and seeing she couldn't take she wanted to keep that black image up there. I mean, she didn't want to keep that image up there, but she damn sure didn't want to take that white one down. She said, I don't know what I seen first. That image of my mama. Talking about the white one. But when the black people was there, they was getting all kinds of blessings, man. They was getting blessings abundant. But guess what? It was too much for them. Because our people, it would be too much like right, man. Our people didn't want it. Go ahead.
And it was something I didn't even pay attention to. I don't know, brother, sister, called it. She was like, yeah, we'll let them stay up for a little while, but then we're going to put the other one back up. I said, damn, I never even caught that. For many years, man. I just seen it like a few weeks ago. She said, we putting that other image back up. Is that what she said?
1 week.
That's right. You're exactly right, huh? Yeah, and putting them back up. You're exactly right. And guess what? They do that to us today, man. Give us our history, thousands of years of history in the shortest month of the year. Come on, man. I mean, that's programming at the highest spiritual deception, man.
And you know what's even funny? They said that's the picture of Ned the wino. What they call Christ. Well, that's crazy. But guess what? She said she had let him put it up there, but he had to put it beside the white image.
Yeah. Hey. What was the dad's name on the Good Times?
James.
Yeah. Did you know that he married Edomite?
Many people did.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of. Well, look here.
I was never of that show.
But you got to think about this. You got to think about this. If they give you all this money, how they gonna get it back? Hold on, man. We got it. You don't want to go too far. We got it. Go ahead, y'all.
No, because, and like I said, man, this is what the image of white Christ done our people. Like I said, we lack confidence, we lack motivation, right? To the point where we don't even want to fight anymore. We don't have any courage to want to fight anymore, man. That's what white Jesus did for us, right? Because that's another excuse that we hear all the time. I know I hear all the time Christians say, well, you know, I'm a Christian, but ain't no white Jesus. Well, then why are you praying to him, right? Ain't no white back. Let's get through those second Maccabees 4 and 14. Second Maccabees 4. And this is exactly what's wrong. This is what the image of one says to people. It's their courage away to they don't want to fight us, man. Right? We just going through the motions, man. We just going through the motions. When you get there, read that out. We'll start at 13.
Oh, back it off. Back it off. Okay. If you see, he typed in Jesus. He's only got one image of a black man in it.
Right. Sibo.
Look at that. One image. Out of all them up, one image right there.
And it's a good time.
Ain't wide though, man. That's crazy.
That is, man. Read this precept, man.
The book of Second Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 13.
Bring it up.
Now, such was the height of Greek fashion,
Uh-huh.
an increase of heathenish manners.
In heathenish manners. This is what white Jesus do for you, man. It brings you heathenish manners, man. It brings your mannerism to the other nations, man, right?
Right.
The Edomite soft and brother, we love everybody. Now you got us. Hey man, you supposed to love everybody. That ain't how we was, man. Maccabeans they go like that, man. Right? Shit, we had to kill some of our own sometime, man, to get that wickedness off us, man. Read.
An increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason,
Read.
that ungodly wretch, and no high priest.
That's what we gotta get back to. Ungodly people, rich, man, rich people, man. Right? You look at Edomite, tell you you're wretched, get your wretched butt away from me, man. Right? That's what you are. All of them, read them.
that the priests had no courage to serve anymore at the altar.
That's what it does to our people. We don't have any courage to continue in our ways, man. To fight back, to fight for our laws and our nation, man, right? This is what the image of white Christ done for us, man. Right? Dumbing us down and made us watered down people, man. We not those people, read.
But despising the temple and neglecting the
And
sacrifice.
that's what it do. We despise the word of Lord and the sacrifice that we have to do. The Lord said that we are the spiritual sacrifice now. Ain't none of the Christians out here sacrificing themselves. They're not going out on a limb saying, well, look, we're going to read this Bible, tell our people the truth, no matter what. Damn Christian pastor said they ain't getting money, even though he know that this is not the truth, man. Right? They are neglecting these things. Read.
Hasten to be partakers of an unlawful allowance in the place of exercise.
Look, and I'm the exercise, but we hasten to be partakers of unlawful balance. All right, we'll do some Christmas. Ain't gonna do no dedication. Oh no. We'll go broke over trying to get some presents for somebody on Christmas. But we don't worry about coming here and having a feast for 8 days for the Most High God, right? Or we'll do some damn Easter egg hunting and go out here and paint some damn bunnies and things of that nature. But no, we not going to do no Passover, right? That's all right. You got something?
What brought up is heavy. You know, even in the scriptures, how many of our enemies, because it's so seared into our conscience. I don't know if brothers and sisters know in 1969, Ebony magazine posted a black box. Don't you know it wasn't white people? I know I'm a wrong probably know about this. Don't y'all know it wasn't white people that was mad? It was black people that was mad. They almost put it out of business.
Right, I remember
Black people about
that. Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. It won't load real slow.
Put it up,
Right here.
they almost put Ebony out of business because of this black image.
Let me share it. Let me share
You would think in 1969 that man. But I was fighting. That's how Esau knew that he had, and that's why the chain came off, man. In Deuteronomy 28, verse 48. This little change came off because they knew they had destroyed us as a nation of people, man. All people, man. Damn.
Well, yeah. I go say Matthew chapter 4. Read verse 15.
Second Maccabees chapter.
The honor of their father, not say by hand of our forefather, or what?
But like in the glory of the Greeks,
Best of all, we like the glory of the Greeks is best of all.
We don't like black people. No, we like white people. Yes. We don't like black Jeremiah and Nehemiah. We like white Jeremiah and Nehemiah. Yes, that's what we want. Yes. Yes. Pastor Christ, we like white Christ.
Male Gibson,
No, we don't want to bear down.
yeah. Verse 16.
by reason of sword and hunted, for they had them to be their enemy. And
How can they be your enemy and your avengers? This thing makes sense. Either they are enemies and I am avengers. Right? Read.
whose custom they follow so earnestly.
Who custom we follow, our people follow so earnestly. What they fight to nail, this is for the kids. People don't rob, steal, stuff just about the kids at the end of the jail.
That's not what Jeremiah 10 is talking about. Well, they fight so earnestly. Come on, man. Well,
But it is crazy, man.
Video you said I wish
They said Jeremiah 10 don't mean that no more. And he was confounding Israelites on this.
Man, Israelites too. Like,
I don't think it was him.
nah, he did video too. I'm gonna send it to y'all. He did video too saying Jeremiah 10 is not going
Bro,
to.
please, finish, don't make me call you, bro.
Man, say, we'll go. I wanted to call it out because when I seen it, it really made me mad, man. Come on, man. We Israelites out here now trying to say that Jeremiah 10 is not talking about the customs of the heathen, man. Knowing that this damn heathen custom was way before Jeremiah's time. That's why he was able to prophesy about it. It was around Assyrian time, 700. Jeremiah was 500, 580. That's why he was able to prophesy.
Nimrod.
That's right, man. I went into it on my class the day of Yule. Look these things up, man. It was around Assyrian time, the day of Yule, which is around the same Christmas time. That's where we got the present from, around that time. Giving out presents. Come on, man. Wicked, my bad. Now. Go ahead.
It's all good. Dang, what was it? You don't have to call him on the phone physically. Well, anyway, read this 16 on out.
Con, by reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers,
And the Avengers.
whose custom they followed so earnestly, and unto whom they desired to be like in all
And
things.
this is what our people do. They want to be like the heathens so bad, but the heathens wait to see what we do, so they try to be like us. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Let's go back to First Maccabees. What was it? Chapter 3, verse what? 48.
First Maccabees, chapter 3, and verse 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
Mhm.
They brought also the priest's garments, and the first fruits, and the tithe, and the Nazarites they stirred up, who had accomplished their days.
So get what? They stirred up. Man, they was going hard, man. Right? Watch the read.
Come. Then cried they with a loud voice towards heaven, saying, what shall we do with these? And whither shall we carry them away? But
No.
come, verse 51. For thy sanctuary is trodden down and profaned, and thy priests are in heaviness and brought low.
Right, read on.
And lo, the heathen are assembled together against us to destroy us with things they imagine against us.
So-
Thou knowest.
So guess what? The heathens, guess what? They came to destroy us, like they've been doing this. What precept was this? Psalms 83. Right? Read.
Come. Verse 53. How shall we be able to stand against them, except thou, O God, be our help?
That's why we got to have the Most High God, guess what? On our side. We got to be doing the right thing for him to be on our side so he can fight against those things, man. Right? But read on.
Then sounded they with trumpets and cried with a loud voice. And after this, Judas ordained captains over the people, even captains over thousands,
Read.
and over hundreds, and over 50s, and over 10s.
So guess what? When Judas Maccabees seeing all these things happening, guess what Judas started doing? He started setting things in order. He ain't setting up captains and officers for nothing. He's setting up captains and officers so he can set things in order. Right? Because he has to have these things. We have to be on the right side of the Most High. Guess what? When we cry to him, we ask him for prayer, we supplicate to him so he can answer our prayer. He's not going to sit here and just ask your prayer. You just full of sin, just doing. No, you don't even hear that. Right? But read on.
Done. But as for such as were building houses, or had betrothed wives, or were planting vineyards, or were fearful, those he commanded that they should return, every man to his own house.
We read that earlier. What precept was that? But Donovan answered all the questions. Y'all will be glad Donovan here, man.
He reading it on point with that too. What the hell? You gotta come on with it, man.
Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 4 and 5. We read that earlier. Reason why we read it, because guess what? If Solomon was was doing, it was at war, or he was doing something, guess what we have to do? He could be building the temple, right? Let's read it.
according to the law. So the camp removed and pitched upon the south side of Emmaus. And Judas said, arm yourselves and be valiant men.
He said, arm yourself and be valiant men. Read.
And see that you be in readiness against the morning, that you may fight with these nations that are assembled together against us to destroy us in our sanctuary. For it is better for us to die in battle than to behold the calamities of our people in our sanctuary. Nevertheless, as the will of Yahweh is in heaven, so let him do.
So guess what? This is why you think Judas, he ain't calling, these weren't valiant men. These was farmers. These was smiths. These was regular, everyday working people. And he told them, look, you rather die fighting for this cause than for you to just let them come and take over what we got, man. And that's how we supposed to be thinking right now. We need to be standing up doing thus said the Lord to try to, man, what we had to do to fight for this thing, man. This is the mindset that brothers supposed to be in, man. We supposed to have this mindset. Jump over to chapter 4, verse 5.
First Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 5. In the mean season came Dorgias by night into the camp of Judas.
So what is the mean season, brothers? Winter. Read on.
By night into the camp of Judas. And when he had found no man there, he sought them in the mountains. For said he, these fellows flee from us. But as soon as it was day, Judas showed himself in the plain with 3,000 men, who nevertheless had neither armor nor swords to their mind.
Right? So these men had neither armor nor swords in their mind, meaning they wasn't even prepared to fight. Read.
And they saw the camp of the heathen, that it was strong and well harnessed, and compassed round about with horses. And these were experts of war.
And guess what? But with on our enemy side, they had experts of war. They didn't call our people experts of war. We didn't even have swords on our mind. Read.
Then said Judas to the men that were with him, fear ye not their multitude, neither be afraid of their assault. Remember how our fathers were delivered in the Red Sea, when Pharaoh pursued them with an army.
That's Exodus chapter 14, right? Verse 21 through 29. When they pursued Pharaoh with the chariots, and they got drowned in the sea. Right? Verse 10.
Now therefore let us cry unto heaven, if peradventure the Lord will have mercy upon us, and remember the covenant of our fathers, and destroy this host before our face this day.
Right? Read.
That's all the heathen may know that there's one who delivered and saved Israel.
So guess what? Even though we had that fighting on our mind, and they had valiant men in the war, that didn't mean nothing. Because Judas, guess what? He had the heart. Guess what? He was ready to fight and was ready to die for our nation. Right? And this is something that we need to be getting our mind wrapped up around. We need to be preparing ourselves, man. Right? The second coming of the Mashiach Yahweh Shai is a real thing. All right? Oh yeah.
I say this all the time. Judas was a strong, well-known man, right? Powerful. He was a hound. Well, what was his best characteristic? What did he do to our people right now? What did he do?
He exhorted the people.
To what?
Motivated.
To be what in what? Like I said, in remembrance. That is the strong word that we use right now around this time. We are putting our brothers and sisters back into remembrance of who we were and how we got down, man. They're not gonna be able to get down unless they see how we really got down back in the day, man. They're not gonna really understand this until they really see that our forefathers fought for their lives and their laws, man, and said they'll be ready to die and be more better to die than to keep going around with fathers, man. That was one of the best things the Maccabean revolt was. They put our brothers and sisters in remembrance, man. Remember how the Lord fought for us, man. Against the Egyptians, man. How he split and parted the Red Sea, man. How they were valiant men of war, and we were just regular plain people, man, with regular jobs. Man, remember this, man. Putting our brothers and sisters in remembrance is the most important thing we can do, Israel, man. So when you are a teacher of the Word of God, you always want to go back and go into the law to show remembrance of exactly who we were, right? This is the best thing that Judas Maccabeus did, in my opinion, man. Remembrance. So go ahead,
Verse 12.
Then the strangers looked up their eyes and saw them coming over against them, or for they went out of the camp to battle. But they that were with Judas sounded their trumpets.
So guess what? You see how this go? When we didn't have nothing on our mind, but what did we have? Trumpet blowers. Sounded the alarm. Meaning what? This is the sound of battle. Right? Guess what we doing? Brothers was lining up everything, because we couldn't take over no city. You see how they could sneak in. Other nations would sneak in and try to get us on every way. But get what we blew the trumpet when we go to war, right? So get what we blew the trumpet. They had a multitude, right? They was more than us, right? But let's read.
Come. So they joined battle, and the heathen, being discomfited, fled into the plain.
Because guess what? When they heard that trumpet blowing, they already knew it was something. They like, dang, these brothers for real. Yeah. It showed me. But watch what happened.
Howbeit, all the hindmost of them were slain with the sword, for they pursued them unto Gazer, and unto the plains of Idumea,
All right.
and Azotus, and Germania, and so that there were slain of them upon a 3,000 men.
So, but guess what? They killed 3,000 men. Think about it. If you jump up to verse 1, there was 5,000 of them when they first came. But they killed 3,000 of them, right? But read.
This done, Judas returned again with his host from pursuing them, and said to the people, be not greedy of the spoils, inasmuch as there is a battle before us.
So guess what? He said, don't get y'all mind wrapped around the spoil. Let's fight this battle first. Let's get this done first, but because we're going to have to show them what it is. But read.
Georgias and his hosts are here by us in the mountain, but stand ye now against their enemies, and overcome them. And after this, you may boldly take the spoil.
You see that? After we win the battle, then we can boldly, meaning we can take anything we want. So we got to do this first before we take everything. Just like right now, we in this battle. We in the same battle against the heathens. Guess what? The 2/3. And after this battle ends, we can boldly go back to doing whatever we wanted to. Thus said the Lord. Right? Read on up.
And Judas was yet speaking these words. There appeared a part of them looking out of the mountain. But when they perceived that the Jews had put their host to flight and were burning the tents, the smoke that was seen declared what was done.
The smoke that when they had smoke, guess what? Israel took over.
When therefore they perceived these things, they were sore afraid, and seeing also the host of Judas in the plain, ready to fight. They fled everyone into the land of strangers.
So guess what? They fled into the land of strangers, man. Right? Read.
Then Judas returned to spoil the tents, where they got much gold and silver and blue silk and purple of the sea and great riches.
Read.
After this, they went home and sung a song of thanksgiving and praised the Lord in heaven, because it is good, because his mercy endureth forever.
Think about what they was retrieving. They were retrieving a lot of stuff that was stolen from us in the beginning. They literally had to come back to get those things back from the heathens. What you think is gonna happen now? We whooping them right now with these precepts, man, and they gonna give it back. Guess what? We gonna boldly take it from them, man. Right?
Let's get it right quick. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60, verse 11 right quick. Remember, Ox, man, whenever talking points come up, brothers got to be tuned in to what precepts, man, to be able to home in that message, man. Y'all know how brothers roll here, man. We thinking of certain precepts, man. Isaiah 60, because guess what? Those spoils are ours anyway.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 16, verse 11. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the force of the Gentiles.
The forces of the Gentiles. Their will. That will get back.
And that their kings may be brought.
Hold on.
for the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee,
That will what?
that will not serve thee,
You know
shall perish,
what?
shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
And we don't get those spoils back because they always in. Remember, the planet, Earth, the people, and the things they're in belong to the Israelites. So they ain't doing them but just saving it up for us, like it says in the book of Job. Lay up treasures for inheritance. Just roughly paraphrase. But go ahead.
Because, and this is the key example of what these brothers are doing, taking back the spoils, man. Right? And during the time of Maccabean. Let's go back. First Maccabees, chapter 4, where we at?
25.
Verse 25. Come down to verse 30.
Come, verse 30. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 4, and verse 30. And when he saw that mighty army, he prayed and said, Blessed art thou, O Savior of Israel, who didst quell the violence of the mighty man by the hand of thy servant David, and gavest the host of strangers into the hands of Jonathan, the son of Saul, and his armor bearer. Shut up this army in the hand of thy people Israel, and let them be confounded in their power and horses.
So guess what? This is the man, this is a mighty prayer, man. Right? Man, this is the thing, mighty prayer. This could be a camp. Right? And let these heathens be confounded, man. Every heathen that try to come up against us, let them be confounded, man. Right?
Read. Make them to be of no courage, and cause the boldness of their strength to fall away,
Right?
and let them quake at their destruction.
Read on, huh?
Cast them down with the sword of them that love thee, and let all those that know thy name praise thee with thanksgiving.
Read on.
So they joined battle, and there was slain of the host of Lysias about 5,000 men. Even before them were they slain. Now when Lysias saw his army put to flight, and the manliness of Judas soldiers,
So why you see how they go? He said the manliness of Jewish soldiers. Right? Meaning these brothers wasn't playing no game, man. These were no wimpy brothers, man. No. Guess what? The Lord put that boldness, they put that courage back in brothers, man. Right? Read.
and how they were ready either to live or die valiantly.
So guess what? How they was ready to live or die. Either way you go, they was ready to do it. Right? Read.
He went into Antiochia and gathered together a company of strangers, and having made his army greater than it was, he proposed to come again to Judea.
Read.
Then said Judas and his brethren, Behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary.
So guess what? Now Judas said, since we got them discomforted, since we got them on the ropes, now we can go cleanse. Let's go and try to cleanse our temple, man. Right?
Read. Upon this, all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Zion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate and the altar profaned and the gates burnt up and shrubs growing in the courts, as in a forest or as in one of the mountains, yea, and the priest's chambers poured down, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation and cast ashes upon their heads.
Just think about that beautiful temple that we seen laid in gold and laid in shrubs. But they was hurt about that thing, man. They was hurt to see our temple literally be trodden down, man. And he, guess what? Dismantle our temple. Right? Read.
And fell flat to the ground upon their faces and blew an alarm with the trumpet and cried towards heaven. Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary.
So guess what, man? And when the people that was in the fortress that let the temple be tried down like that, and they would stay guard, then what Judas and them started fighting against them. Anybody that got in Judas' way for him to cleanse that temple, they was destroyed. Right? But read.
So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law, who cleansed the sanctuary.
Cleanse the sanctuary. Read.
And bear out the defiled stones into an unclean place.
Right? So guess what? And this is what Judas was doing. Guess what? Anything that needed to be cleansed out of the temple, he was taking these things away. Right? Read.
And when as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profane, they thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it, Wherefore they pulled it down.
So guess what? Even just like the altars and everything that was, guess what? They couldn't go behind the heathens and let some of their stuff stand. No, they had to throw out a lot of stuff, man, because our stuff was defiled by these heathens, man. Right? Read.
And laid up stones in the mountain of the temple in a convenient place, until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them.
Right? Read it.
Then they took whole stones according to the law and built a new altar according to the former.
So guess what? They took that, the old stones, they put them away, and that's the same thing, bro. We just we got nuts. You just go watch some of them old stones, man. Start building these new stones. How we see our forefathers do concerning the temple of the Lord. Guess what? We are the temple of the Lord now. And the Spirit dwells in you. So now there's a Spirit dwelling in you. Some things that you guys, guess what? Like them strongholds we once had on us, we need to get rid of those things, man. We need to literally get rid of those things. Go ahead, huh?
Go to Deuteronomy chapter 27.
In verse 6. Pertaining to that law of whole stones. Make sure that brothers write this down in verse 47. Deuteronomy chapter 27 and verse. Start at verse 4.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, and verse 4. Therefore it shall be when ye gone over Jordan, that ye shall set up these stones, which I command you this day in Mount Ebal, and thou shalt plaster them with plaster.
So the Most High God always had us set up what? Stones and memorials, basically, wherever we tread. Read on.
And there shalt thou build an altar to the Lord thy God, an altar of stone.
An altar of what?
An altar of
The
stone.
Most High God always had us build what? Altars of stones. Read on now.
Thou shalt not lift up any iron tool upon this.
Going into the same thing that Capt Jerubbaal brought out earlier. Read on now. This is where these laws come from. Read on now.
Thou shalt build the altar of the Lord thy God of whole stone.
Of what?
Of whole stone.
Read on now.
And thou shalt offer burnt offerings thereon unto the Lord thy God.
So this is what this law is pertaining to in the book of First Maccabees, chapter 4, verse, what was that? 47. Go ahead, Al.
Big con. No brothers got that precept there on the side there, man. Right, so too. Go ahead. Verse 48.
First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 48. And made up the sanctuary and the things that were within and hollowed the courts. They made also new holy vessels. And into the temple they brought the candlestick and the altar of burnt offerings and of incense and the table. And upon the altar they burnt incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlesticks they lighted,
Right,
that they might give light in the temple.
right. So all of these things, it just put the temple back in order again, man. Everything that we had in it, they just put it back in the temple, man. It's beautifying our temple once again, right? Read on.
Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table and spread out the veils, and finished all the works which they had begun to make.
Right, read.
Now on the 25th day of the 9th month,
The 25th day of the 9th month, man, read.
which is called the month Castle, in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning,
Read.
and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and cisterns and harps and cymbals.
This goes into why we have our feast of dedication on the 9th month, the 25th day of the month. Guess what? Meaning what? We always have a new moon within our dedication. Because if it's on the 25th day of the month, 5 days later is what? New moon. God dang it, man. Why the hell would you go that way? He said the 29th.
How many days in a month according to the scriptures, Fred?
29. That's why I'm just saying, why the hell would you say this? Go ahead,
So like in verse 55, then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who have given them good success.
Read.
And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days.
And they kept it how many days?
8
That's
days.
why we keep the feast of dedication 8 days, man. Read.
And offered burnt offerings with gladness and sacrifice of deliverance and praise.
Right? Go to Daniel chapter 12 right quick. Daniel chapter 12, verse 10. We're gonna go back and finish that out. But Daniel chapter 12, verse 10.
The book of Daniel, chapter 12 and verse 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried.
It said, many shall be purified and made white and tried. Right? Read.
But the wicked shall do wicked, and none of the wicked shall understand. But the wise shall understand.
So he said, but the wise shall understand. Pay attention now. Read it.
And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away.
Guess what? Remember, we was reading about when the daily sacrifice was taken away. Right? But read.
And the abomination that make it desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days.
So they said 1,290 days. 1,290 days. That's the reason why they have the time Hasmonean dynasty going to the 171, like you say, 171 BC to 165, 67 BC. It's probably 100 some days, right? This is the prophecy, right? But it's supposed to be 1,335 days. But go ahead.
Come, blessed is he that waited and coming to the 1,305 days.
And they're blessed is he that waited to come to those days that goes into the Maccabees, Judas Maccabees. He got a chance to see the temple restored. Right? Jesus going into the temple being restored. Right? So when you read about that in First Maccabees, like you say, going about when you see him when he redid the stones and the altars and he started getting all the daily sacrifices, he was the one that was blessed to see the temple to get restored. Right? So let's go back to First Maccabees chapter 4.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 52. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Capt, in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings, which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and cisterns and harps and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days and offered burnt offerings with gladness and sacrifice of deliverance and praise. And also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold.
They did the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold.
And with shields. And the gates and the chambers they renewed and hanged the doors upon them. Right. Thus was there very great gladness among the people. The reproach of the heathen was put away.
The reproach of the heathen was put away.
Moreover, Judas and his brethren, with the whole congregation of Israel, ordained the days of the dedication of the altar to be kept in the season.
That's why you see Christ went in what is season to know where the dedication, right? Meaning in the winter. Read.
From year to year, by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month Capt, with mirth and gladness. Right. At that time also they built up the Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about.
So guess what? That's why I say it's important that they, just like even in the time of Nehemiah, they dedicated the walls. Why? Because those high towers and the walls gave us what? The defense.
Right.
Protection. Right? Read.
Lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down as they had done before.
as they has done before, right? Read.
And they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Bethsura to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea.
You see that?
I don't know. Y'all see how tough that is, man. That's why a piece of dedication is so important. Why you think the heathens want to stop these things, man? Paint the likeness and the image and try to do everything to try to go against. Thus said the Lord. That's why it's an important thing for us to keep the feast of dedication, man. Right? And with that, we give our honor and praise to the Most High, His Son, Yahushua. Shabbat Shalom. Happy feast of dedication. Keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Allow we go into the day in Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 5. Hope you brothers and sisters been having a good week. Feast of dedication, locked and load. We be having a ball tonight. Y'all know how we do it. We got say Venom back, Benaniyah, you can throw them shots back.
Whoa.
Y'all south side in the building. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We got me and Captain Yard. We just gonna watch it sip a little bit. Sip a lot a little. Well, what he would say for on mistake, what you say you on purpose by mistake. Read it out.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 20 and verse 5. And the officer shall speak unto the people, saying, what man is there that has built a new house and has not dedicated?
What man has built a new house and not dedicated? So, brothers and sisters, it's starting time to renew our spirit. What man or woman that has try to get a new house, meaning a new spirit on them, right? And has not dedicated to the Lord. Read it.
Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle in another man. It's like in another man dedicated.
And another man dedicated. Right? And with that, we give our honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahushua. Have a feast. Hallelujah. Close.